Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Red.Beard Outdoors podcast. I am Jonathan, your host, and here at Red.Beard Outdoors, I talk about faith, family, fitness, and the outdoors. On Tuesdays like today, we go over gear, tinkering Tuesdays. Sometimes it'll be mindset, but right now, very gear focused because I want you to be able to get the best gear in your hands before your hunting season. Right now, we're in the midst of camping and backpacking season, so hopefully you're enjoying some outside time with your family. But I want to bring gear to you as if you're sitting here in the room with me and discussing things that I enjoy, things that I've used, and just hopefully you're able to spend your hard-earned money on gear that will make you happy rather than having to go through the trial and error of finding things that you don't like. And we all know that struggle. So I don't want you to have to go through that. On Saturdays, I have amazing conversations with some great guests that I bring on, from experts in their field to people like you and me that are on our journeys and growing and at the start and just finding things out our own way and leaving some tips and tricks and hints and whatever else to help your learning curve go down, and whatever it may be, from faith, family, fitness, the outdoors, incorporating all of that into our lives. So with that being said, I've got an amazing gear review for you guys today. I'm going to do a comparison of multiple different bow sights that I've shot throughout the years. I'm not decades into archery by any means, guys, so I'm not a target archer. These are all bow hunting sights. These are sights that I'll explain to you why I prefer them, what I like about them over others, and which ones I'm going to go with this season. I really appreciate being able to work with some awesome companies. All of them, when you get to the high-end bow sights, guys, just like with bows, it comes down to personal preference. For example, I shoot PSE. I love my PSE bows, but I've also shot Matthews and Hoyt. And honestly, guys, you can go to your local archery shop, bow shop, and try them out for yourself, because not one size fits all. Is it cool to have a group and shoot with those groups and, have a good looking bow? You want it to look good for you. A good looking bow for me may not be for you. So, all of those things come into play. With bow sights today, I'm going to bring to you some higher end sights and then maybe some options where I first got started, my very first bow, about 4 or 5 years ago, and something that would be really interesting to you and in your journey. So with that being said, I also want to invite you into the First Phorm Outdoors Facebook group. Right now we have a Gleam challenge going on, so I'll leave that link down below so you can get into that. There's over $900 worth of prizes in there: Montana Knife Company knife, First Phorm Outdoors swag, some supplements, etc. Definitely go check out that challenge in the link down below. Also, in First Phorm Outdoors, guys, you're going to find an amazing community of individuals that just want to see you get better on a day-to-day basis. You don't have to be extremely fit. You don't have to want to go be a bodybuilder. This is all about getting outside, enjoying the outdoors, and as we say over there, experiencing more of the outdoors. Last but not least, I've got an amazing group, RedBeard's Fit Crew, as well, that I run. We have some great people in there. We've got a challenge right now going on, a greens challenge for 30 days to see how that impacts your health and how you can improve your health by adding one simple thing to your diet, etc. So definitely go check those groups out. Links are down below. I'll go further into that at the end of the video. But guys, let's get into these sights, okay? So today I'm going to bring to you 4 sights here physically with me, and then I'm going to talk about 2 other sights that I've used and give you some ideas and some features on those sights with some pictures here. You may hear a bag opening here and there. I apologize if that sound bothers you ahead of time. So first and foremost, I want to get started with this sight right here. All right. And the reason why I'm bringing you guys these sights, I've been shooting the Dialed Archery sight. Really love those guys a lot. And I want to show you guys some other sights on the market that may be more budget friendly, something that will work for you, and other high-end options that maybe would fit the bill for you a little bit better. Things that I can trust and that I can recommend to you. But like I said, you guys know what the high-end sights are. So that's why you come to this video. I'm assuming that's why you clicked on it. So here we go. Let's start with this HHA Max Tetra Max Rise. Okay. So the Tetra Max Rise. Now the Tetra Max Rise will come with a 2-pin housing here, and I'll show you a picture of what it comes with. Now I swapped out the housing because, again, for me, it being a hunting sight, I would prefer to have multiple pins. rather than treating it as a single pin sight. So the Tetra Max Rise is going to come with that 2-pin option right there. So it's 1 pin on the top, 1 pin on the bottom, and then you've got the bubble. Okay. So, and then the housing is just a little bit smaller than the one that I'm going to show you right now. That is an awesome option. Also, the Rise has this right here, which I'll show you. These rings are replaceable. So if you shoot multiple options, for example, you're into Total Archery Challenge, Mountain Archery Fest, etc., you want to have a setup for that, you can have a sight ring that's set up for that, and then you can swap it over to maybe your hunting arrows if they're a little bit heavier, etc., so you can have multiple setups. So here's the way I've got mine set up. Okay, so this is a 4-pin that I asked them to make, and you can ask them to make it. It may take a little bit longer to get a custom setup made, but the top 2 pins are 19ths, and then the bottom 2 pins are 10ths. So as you get further out in distance, you've got a smaller target. Therefore, I wanted a smaller pin so I can see more of the target. There's a couple features. We'll start off with the housing here. Okay, so I really like how they've done those pins there. How the pins come in wide out here, and then they narrow down in the center of the housing there. That's awesome. Each one of them is individually adjustable right here with an Allen screw right here on the side. Right there. Perfect. This housing is pretty awesome. The cutouts here to allow light in, but also to cut out some weight, because it's pretty stout build. It's pretty heavy duty built here. Also, this ring right here, guys, will screw in and out. So you can see here that will allow you to get more light on your fibers. There's exposing the fibers there. So if you're needing more light or you're wanting less light, simple, just that little hood right there will go out and in based on what you need. This has a micro adjust right here for the windage, which is great. It's a tactile click. Awesome setup right there, guys. And with that housing as well, I personally like green or white. Those are kind of my go-to colors for that ring right there. I'm sure you can get other options as well, but I really like that. And the bubble is pretty big and noticeable right there on the bottom. So lots of good things about the housing on that site that I really liked, but more than anything, just how those pins come in wide on the outside and narrow in on the inside rather than just being straight pins. I think that's an awesome setup right there. The lines here, something that you guys will know if you adjust your sights at all, you adjust your housing at all. These lines right here allow you to mark where you're at. So in case something gets bumped, something rocks loose, whatever, you're able to see it move as well as you're adjusting the sight. So that's a great, those are great options right there. With the rail, here on the side of the rail there, you're going to see right here where my finger's indicating, there's a line so that you can also mark up and down my macro adjustments of the sight housing up and down. There is first, second, and third adjustments on your axes. So first, second, third adjustments. And then let's go to this rail right here. It's gold. I imagine that's a coating. I didn't ask. I probably should have. But this thing rolls super smooth, guys. I'm putting barely any pressure at all. So if you like a sight that's going to roll really quick like that, up and down, super quick, then this would be a great option for you. And then right here, what you see me doing here is I'm turning that knob right there to get it to lock. So that's going to lock it down. It's not going to allow you to adjust. So with this here, it's got good knurling on the dial. And then you've got your round sight tape here. Now the sight tape is on the outside. So the bow would be here. You would need to turn the bow to the outside so you can see the numbers and then come back. Okay, so that might be something that maybe you do or don't like. That's up to you. But some people really like them, some people don't. And so it's not a straight up and down tape. It is a dial tape. And then this is the setup tape, guys. So what you'll do with this is pretty simple to get set up. You'll take this tape and you'll go through your whole setup process. and then you're able to slap on a sight tape that matches the yardages that you figured out between 20 and 60 on whatever pin you're using for your slider pin. And then you're able to go through, pick that sight tape out of the pre-made sight tapes, which they have here. Let's see if I can grab them for you. And these pre-made sight tapes are pretty awesome. They will go out to, it's over 100 yards, which isn't typical of most sight tape, pre-made sight tapes. Yeah, so these will go out to 150. Okay, so you got tons of options there to be able to get your sights, get your sight dialed in. Awesome. So with the Tetra Max, the Tetra Max has some great options. This is the Tetra Max Rise. The Tetra Max is another housing that will, it has a single indicator instead of a dual indicator right here. And there's a couple of other different, I can't remember off the top of my head, guys, but you're not able to, with the Tetra Max, you're not able to have a dual indicator. So if that dual indicator is something that you want, then that is definitely something that you would want to go and upgrade to the Tetra Max Rise. And there's a couple of other things as well. So you guys go check out the differences there on the website. And again, you can build your housing to the way you want it. If you want a 3-pin, 4-pin, the single pin with the dual indicator, you can go select the housing that you're wanting over there. So we've gone over this little set screw right here on the dial will allow you to pop the dial off and put a new dial on. That dual indicator right there is pretty slick. I do like the way that the pins are set up. Very precise. On the Tetra Max, instead of it being a pin, you can have the option of a magnifier set up there. So if you have maybe some older eyes or some eyes that aren't necessarily treating you well up close, maybe you need reading glasses, etc. That indicator can be a magnifier on the Tetra Max. Now this again is the Tetra Max Rise setup. So again, dial's super smooth. You got the first, second, and third adjustments, first, second, and third axis adjustments. And this one's the Picatinny rail mount. So that'll clip on your Hoyts, that'll clip on your PSEs, the new PSEs that have the pick rail on the front. It's super clean, brings it in really close to the center of the bow. There are multiple other options as well. You can get the side mount option on the bow, just your normal side mount that would clip onto the side there. So, and then you can also get the dovetail, which is another option. Some people prefer that for being able to take it on and off. I've found that with the Picatinny rail, you get the most consistent, remounting of the sight if you use the pick rail mount, because you can always put it in the exact same spot when you put it back on the bow. So you're traveling, you want to take your sight off, etc. But guys, this HHA is an awesome sight. I love the idea of the 4-pin. I really do. For hunting scenarios, a 3 or 4-pin is ideal in my opinion, because in those closer scenarios, you're going to be able to have that 20, 30, 40, 50, or in some instances 20, 35, 50, 60, whatever you want to have. So sometimes you don't even have to dial. As long as you know what your pins are, you can gap, shoot, etc. So having 4 pins is almost, I would, in my opinion, 3 to 4 pins is a perfect setup for hunting. That's my opinion. So there's the Tetra Max Rise from HHA. Okay, great side option. Go check them out. Chris and his crew over there are just awesome individuals, great people. Next sight that I'm going to bring to your attention here is the dialed Arxos with the UV housing. So this is the UV3XL housing. I painted it so it doesn't come in black, so don't get all excited on me. But guys, this housing is clean. I'm still looking at this sight and testing it out, running it on my bow, and seeing as far as durability is concerned. I know a lot of sights, a lot of parts are made out of aircraft grade aluminum. It just feels very, I don't want to say easily, like I could knock it down on the ground or whack it up against a tree and bend the sight housing. Probably won't happen, but this is a sight that I am working on testing right now. It does have a light, so if you have light issues in your state where you're not allowed to have black lights, then you can take this cartridge off right here with a simple set screw right there. And you can take that off and put a regular ring on the outside of this right there. So let's talk about this setup. I absolutely love the dudes at Dialed. So Dialed and Dialed Arxos, which is this housing or the mounting bracket here, they are constantly making their site better. They're a pretty brand new site company. And with that, they have some amazing individuals as part of their team. They are constantly working to get better. And that's something that I appreciate from companies. Companies that I get to work with, companies that I watch from a distance, people that I know. If you're constantly striving to get better and don't think that you're, for lack of a better term, that your shit don't stink, then that impresses me beyond measure. Because when you get complacent, when you sit back and you think, my stuff is the best in the world, no one can top my stuff, etc. You get in that mindset, you start to fall behind, especially in this market where, as you're going to see here, I'm going to bring to you multiple sites in this video, and all of them are amazing. And you're going to have to pick for yourself which one you think is the best. So if you're sitting back and thinking that your stuff is the best and you don't have to make any improvements on it, I'm going to say you're wrong, because you are going to fall behind. Now, if that's what you want to do and you're good and you're stuck in what you're doing, awesome. But that's something that I admire about the Dialed team. These guys are constantly aiming to get better on a day-to-day basis. So here's my setup from front to back. We'll start with the sight housing on this setup here. So the UltraView 3XL has, if you're going to use the Dialed Arxos setup, you're going to need the offset bracket right here. Right there. And what that does is that allows you to be able to get in here and basically move the sight so that this part of the sight isn't touching the dial and the sight tape here, right? Because you definitely don't want that touching the sight tape, rubbing, etc. Okay, so those are some things right there that you want to be aware of if you're going to be getting this set up right here. All right. Also, this UV3XL is pretty awesome. It's a cartridge system. So I can show you here where, say you don't want this 3-pin. Now, I just talked about how I really enjoy 3-pin to 4-pin systems. So it's got 1, 2, 3, and then the little oh crap pin there at the bottom. For my setup on this, it is a 20, 35, 50, and I want to say it's 60 or 65. I'm going to have to verify that before I shoot, obviously. But if you don't like that cartridge, all you have to do is get your set of Allens, pop that out right there on either side, and oh, I didn't unscrew that one all the way. And you can pop that out if you prefer a single pin system. There you go. There's your whole housing right there, or your cartridge, and you can change it out for a single pin system or whatever you would prefer from UltraView. So there you go. Same thing with the battery. If you are not allowed to have battery system in your state, wherever you choose to hunt, then you're going to pop that right out like that with a single unscrewing of the Allen. All right. Pretty simple, huh? I really appreciate that. I think that's an awesome setup for a site that you can make super modular. And like I said, I spray painted this black. It generally comes in there aluminum. I don't know what to describe. It's almost like a purplish, purple silver hue. But there you go. There's that. So I'm going to put this cartridge back in here so we can talk a little bit more about the 4-pin and why I really enjoy this housing. Like I said, my main concern with it is durability, because as you saw here, there are quite a few little Allen screws that could come loose on a hunt. And I haven't had anything like that happen on any of my hunts, and I've banged up my stuff pretty bad in the past on some of my other sites. But, you know, knowing me, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy's Law, whatever you want to call it. I just call it my ginger luck. But let's talk about this housing right here. Okay. So the 4-pin system, I really enjoy it. The top pin is movable, bottom pin is movable. Or sorry, top pin and third pin are movable. Middle pin and bottom pin are not. They are fixed in the housing. And you can see that right here with those Allen keys in the back. All right. I think they did an amazing job with this sight. Now, again, I'm going to go shoot tack with it this upcoming weekend and see how that goes. I shot with it, getting it kind of sighted in at Mountain Archery Fest. I really enjoyed getting it sighted in. It was a lot of fun, but I didn't take this out because I wasn't ready to lose that many arrows. So I just took it to the practice range, went out to about 100 yards, and kept it there. All right, so now we've talked about the housing. Let's look at the front here. That bubble is outstanding. It is huge. So if you like to have a big bubble, this will definitely be the sight for you. Okay. Modularity, again, you just change out this cartridge right here. You can get a single pin system, etc. Let's move down the line here. I already talked to you about this bracket that you would want if you're going to be using the Arxos for your UltraView sight. Here is the windage bar. Okay. So you've got clicks. It's audible clicks. It tells you what direction you're moving your sight, left or right. And it is outstanding, the micro adjustment windage on the dialed Arxos. I love this frame. Right here is where you're going to move the sight up and down for the macro adjustments and your second axis adjustment as well. Okay. This rail, let's go there next. It's got tension. So, I mean, I'm putting quite a bit of tension here on that rail to get it to move. If you don't like tension on your rail, then you might have to work this back and forth quite a bit. From my experience, it doesn't necessarily lose that tension. My first sight was another sight that had tension. It had a locking mechanism as well. I never used it, and I forgot it even existed on the sight, to be honest with you, because I would just twist it. I like that tension. Some people don't. Some people prefer the looseness of the previous sight I just went over. Excuse me. I like the tension on this dial right here. Also, it looks really cool. I really like the void dial right there. That is pretty sweet. You can get so many different colors. I don't even know how many colorways there are on the site at this point. But there are tons of colorways that you can go check out. I really appreciate that, having all the options to accent colors, etc. They've done limited runs where they've done like a tack setup. I think the most recent one was a First Light version. They've done different ones as well. And with those different dials and setups, you're going to get a black ring here just to symbolize the special run that you purchased. So again, the dial has some good tension there. It's got good knurling, as you can see right there. And it's clean looking. On the inside here, I personally really like to run my sight tips on the inside because I'm a right-handed shooter. I don't like to look on the outside of my bow around my quiver and arrows to dial my sight. I like to turn it in, dial it, bring it up to shoot. So the great thing about this tape here, and you guys have heard me talk about this on the dialed review that I did, this tape right here can also be moved to the outside. So you remove this set screw right here, pop this piece off, this little head right here. You take this, move it to the outside. So in between the black and red here, in between my nails, that's where the sight tape would go. And you would have an outside sight tape. So if you prefer the sight tape on the outside, that's awesome. I prefer mine on the inside. So I run it on the inside here. It's got multiple indicator pins that you can set up. I have all 4 of them set up. You can take it out and just have one so that you have your one slider and you know what your other pins are. However you want to do it, you can do it. They also have a custom sight tape builder. So you take your test sight tape, go run it out to the yardage that you want, up to 150. So you have to be able to shoot out to 150, but up to 150 yards. You take the numbers from your sight tape. Say on your sight tape it said 5 was at your 20-yard mark, 10 was at your 30, 15 was at your 40, etc. You go to the dialed archery site, you plug those numbers in, and it will print a custom sight tape off for you. If you like the numbers in the middle like that, you can do it in the middle. If you want different colorations on it, if you want the numbers on one side of the tape or the other, you can totally customize it. Go check that out as well. All right, let's see here. What else? So first axis is already dialed from the shop. Second and third axis is available to do on this site. So if you want to have that first axis adjustment done on your own, that's up to you. I haven't had any issues with this being off at all in any of the dialed sites that I've shot. So leave that for what it is. This right here is the brake. So that button right there is the brake. So you push that in. It's like the safety on a gun. And this won't move unless you put an extreme amount of pressure. You can override that brake if you need to. And that's why it's called a brake, not a stop or a whatever you want to call it, where it just stops at 100%. You can't override it. This, you push down, you override it. If you want to let it go, go there. Most of the time, I don't even click that button because, again, there's enough tension on it that my sight doesn't move up and down when I'm shooting. So that's another consideration there. And then, of course, I've got the Picatinny mount here, which goes great on your bow sight, or on your bow, apologize. On the Hoyt bows, on the PSE bows, and I'm not sure if there's any other bows out there that run the Picatinny sight or the Picatinny mount, but there you go. So again, micro adjust windage, macro adjust up and down. Okay, perfect. Constantly innovating, love it. All right, next one. While we're on the dialed Arxos, I'm going to talk about this right here. So this, it's on my bow. I probably should have taken it off for the review, but I didn't. So here is the dovetail that is specifically meant for the Matthews bows. It'll fit in Matthews bows if you have a Matthews. If you don't, it comes with this bracket here, and the dovetail will slide in and out. I've got it pretty much all the way pushed to the bow because I like my sight as close as possible to be able to get maximum yardage for me personally. Again, I run my sight tape on the inside, but the main difference between this and this one is the sight housing. So this is the mag from Dialed. I really like the 3-pin. Some people prefer the 2-pin, where it's just the one on the top and the one on the bottom. I prefer the 3-pin, so I've got those 3 pins. I love the cleanness of a vertical sight post. A vertical sight post is, I mean, it does wonders, in my opinion, for just the way it looks, the sight picture overall. Now, something else with this, guys, is that this sight post right here is a 10ths pin. So I really like the pins a little bit smaller. If I have to choose between 10ths and 19ths, I'll go 10ths. I don't have any issues with the light getting into them. That's something that some people say. Other people, are worried about their eyes. That's all personal preference when you get into 10ths or 19 thousandths on your sight pins. So that's what I'm running there. So again, guys, if you don't have the Picatinny mount like the other one, you can get the dovetail mount, and this will go into Matthews, or get the side bracket here to put the dovetail in. All right. Everything else the same. The mag, I love the mag. I love the housing. You'll notice the bubble is on the top. Let's see if I can get this in view for you guys. There we go. The bubble. I'm going to take my bar off here. I'll keep whacking myself in the face with it. Okay. So that bubble right there is on the top. Also, on the top here, you'll notice that's where the fibers are getting their light there at the top. So this hood will slide back and forth based on the light that you need in the fibers. The other thing too about this sight, guys, that you might notice compared to other dialed mags is this right here. You get some, let's see if I can, there we go. So you might be able to see that, you might not. See if I can bring the camera a little bit closer here for you. All right. So there you go. You're able to see, if I can get to focus not on my face, but that is a black light. So if you're allowed to have lights on your sights, there you go. They created a smooth looking black light that just fits right in that little hood. It'll slide back and forth just like your normal hood. You don't have to use it, but if you do need it for those times where it's still shooting light, but you're not getting enough light into your pins, etc., you can slide that hood over and then crank that up. And it's a three clicks and then off. It's got an auto set to where it will turn off as well, so you don't burn out your battery. The battery change is super simple. So there you go. That's the mag by Dialed. This is the one that I'll be running on my carbon bow, the Mach 34. And I'm not changing that setup at all. That's what I'm running. That's what I've got. I've loved it. And it's a great setup. So there you go. Another sight option. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about a couple of other ones that I have run. The Spot Hog triple stack Fast Eddy. It's a great sight. It's built pretty much bomb proof. There's a couple things I did not like about it that ultimately led me away from it. One was that there is not at least I didn't find a zero stop on it. So I personally want a zero stop at the top. I want there to be a zero stop so that when I get to the top, it stops. When I hit my 20, it stops. And there was a couple other things too with the sight tape being on the outside. Kind of bothered me as well, and the fact that it was just so hefty. That thing is bomb proof. It is built like a tank. But that is a great option again. And then another sight that I ran all last year was the Dual Track by Black Gold. The Dual Track has 2 adjustable pins, so it is it looks like a vertical pin setup, but it is 2 separately adjustable pins in a black gold housing. Black gold is another high-end, great sight, great options. I like to have a little bit more than 2 pins though, just in case something happens and I need to be able to, adjust on the fly and not have to turn my dial. I like to have at least 3, if not 4 pins in my sight. So that one is no longer with me. I sold that with the Matthews from last year because it's a great sight, great option. Was not for me. But I will tell you, if you are into that 2-pin system, you're looking for an adjustable pin there at the bottom, that's a great sight. Last but not least, I promised you guys I would talk to you about a more budget-friendly sight. So all of these that I've talked about are your higher-end sights with the UltraView housing on the dialed Arxos, the HHA Tetra Max Rise, and then of course the dialed Arxos with the dialed mag on it. The first bow that I ever got was back in the end of 2019, and it was the 2020 bow from Hoyt, and I wanted a sight that was going to last me, but I was just getting into archery. So I didn't know all about micro adjust. I didn't know all about all the funky little things that I've gone over here that I now geek out about and enjoy. I just wanted a 3-pin sight because I didn't know that you could custom order a 4-pin. 5 pins for me, 5 and 7-pin sight seemed a little cluttered. And like I said, didn't know much about the fact that you could order a custom 4-pin. So I went into the bow shop, Wild Arrow, great guys. They're amazing. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I'm at in my knowledge with archery if it wasn't a huge shout out to them, because they are just outstanding guys. If you're in the Utah area or you're passing through, I recommend you go and check them out. But guys, they got me set up with the Black Gold Verdict Mountain. Was it the Mountain Ascent Verdict. Mountain Light Ascent Verdict. Something along those lines. But it's fixed here on the sides. Let's see if I can get this into view here. So it's fixed here on the side, so it mounts directly to your bow. There is no dovetail, there is no Picatinny. It's just a direct mount to your bow. And then there is no micro adjust, but it does have first, second, and third axis adjustments. This wheel right here has good enough tension to where I felt comfortable leaving it. Like I would turn it, leave it. It's got a zero stop up at 20, where I like it. It's got a straight sight tape. So if you prefer that, the straight sight tape rather than a round one, this would be a great option for you. By straight sight tape, I mean this tape right here is just straight up and down. It's not a dial. The 3-pin on this is amazing. I mean, it's just, it's light. It's not built like a tank, but it's very durable, has lifetime warranty, as well as the dialed has a lifetime warranty. Tetra, or the HHA Tetra Max Rise has a lifetime warranty. Great, all great companies. But this one's going to come in almost $200 cheaper than some of these other high-end sites that I talked to you about. So if you are in the market and you are just getting started, I want you to be able to shoot a sight like this. I want you to be able to grab a dialed Arxos with the mag or the Ultra View sight on it. I want that for you. But if it's not in your budget, don't go breaking the bank on your accessories. Okay, so I'm going to butcher the name here. It's the Black Gold Mountain Ascent Verdict, or Mountain Light Ascent Verdict, something along those lines. But guys, it's all of the stuff that you need and none of the extras, such as the micro adjust, etc., that maybe one day you'll get into. And when you get into that, again, I'd recommend something like this, or the dialed Arxos with the mag on it. But again, you're getting into a bow. I want you to be getting into a good bow and not breaking the bank on accessories. A sight is a great accessory that you don't want to skimp on because you don't want it to break on you in the field. But I've put this thing through some nasty terrain. It's still got dust and stuff all over it, guys. But this sight is amazing. I would recommend this to anyone who is getting started with archery and is on a budget and doesn't have the budget to be able to go get a $500 sight. So you guys can choose. I want to know down below, what was your first bow sight? What was the sight that you started with? I would like to know if you have any experience with any of these that I've mentioned here today, any of these that I've shown with you, maybe something that I missed, a question that you have that maybe I didn't go over on these sites. But for me, on my bows this year, on my carbon, on the Mach 34, I will be running this exact setup right here. So I'm not changing anything about this except getting it even more dialed in. That's going to be my setup for this season 2023 on the Mach 34. On my Omen, as of right now, after running the different sight options, I will be running this sight. So the dialed Arxos with the Ultra View 4-pin, and I'm going to see how this housing holds up at tack, etc. Just seeing how things go with that, because I want to have the 4-pin option, and I really enjoy the Arxos and how that feels. Again, guys, HHA has a great sight. Black Gold has a great sight. There's many other great sights out there, but for me personally, this Arxos is the way I'm going to be going forward. Just putting it out there because I want you guys to know what I will be shooting, and then also want to give you those recommendations like I do with the Black Gold Mountain Light Ascent Verdict. That bow sight will be great for anyone that's looking to get into archery, maybe even upgrading from something that you had that was even cheaper, moving up to a mid-level sight. I would say that that's a great mid-level sight. If you have the money, if you have the money to get a higher end sight, I would highly recommend checking out Dialed and the Dialed Arxos with the mag if you like the 3-pin vertical, or the Dialed Arxos with their bracket here. And if you want to throw the Ultra View on it, that's awesome as well. So you tell me, what questions do you have? Drop them down below. I want to know what you got for me. I know this one went a little bit longer than normal. Usually my gear reviews are 15 to 20 minutes. Today definitely went over that. Hope you enjoyed all of these sites, being able to go through them with me. If you were here with me, I would just hand them to you and say, hey, check it out, put your hands on it, etc. Again, all of these sites are amazing. Just letting you know what I'm choosing and why. Hope you have an outstanding rest of your day. And I do want to invite you personally, again, to come over to RedBeard's Fit Crew, First Phorm Outdoors on Facebook. Guys, just great communities over there. Definitely go check them out and get in on this First Phorm Outdoors giveaway right now. If you are going to be at TAC this weekend, come check us out at the booth. We're going to be doing some pretty sweet things over there as well. Come get your hands on the sites over in TAC, Utah, if you're there this weekend. And again, guys, drop your questions below. Really excited to chat with you about these items that I brought to you today. I'm really grateful to be able to work with some amazing companies. The fact that these companies were willing to send some of these sites out to me and other ones I've purchased so that I could get them to you guys. Let me know what questions you've got. Have an amazing day. And of course, get out, live your life, and love it.